Welcome. My name is Kate Reavey and I teach English at Peninsula College. And today I'm going to show you a tool that I came to understand just a few months ago. And I want to begin by just saying that I am a novice when it comes to this kind of technological tool. And I'm here today to help welcome you to use this tool both as perhaps an instructor or just a person who's interested in literature and various ways to engage literature. I teach English at Peninsula College, but as a student myself, I didn't begin using computers as a standard tool until I was in graduate school. I used typewriters for papers and then moved on to word processors. But for me, this is new, exciting, and it allows me to sort of meet my students where they are. And that to me is one of the best parts of looking at Google Lit Trips and also looking at some other technology that has just come my way. So today we're going to look at three different aspects of this tool. The first one is just becoming familiar with what these Google Lit Trips are. The second part is looking at Google Lit Trips as a viewer or perhaps a user. And the third part is just considering creating a Google Lit Trip yourself. So right here we have the home page for Google Lit Trips, and you can get there simply by typing in googlelittrips.org. And you'll notice that there's a selection for K through 5 students, 6 through 8, high school, and then higher education. But I encourage you to explore around any of these and possibly just click on to all the downloads that are possible. Any way you do it, fairly easy to explore. And just to kind of let you see an overview, a really popular novel called Hannah's Suitcase is available through Lit Trips, as is Make Way for Ducklings. We're going to be looking at The Grapes of Wrath today because that's a text that I think many people are familiar with. But the reason I point out Make Way for Ducklings is not only because it was created by a classroom of kindergarteners and first graders, but also because the venue, the viewing of Make Way for Ducklings is quite different because we're in Boston and we're looking at a map of Boston, an urban area in Make Way for Ducklings. Whereas with The Grapes of Wrath, we're looking cross country, we're looking at highways. And having said that, let's go to the specific lit trip that we're going to explore today, which is The Grapes of Wrath. So the way you can do that is simply to click on the download section, choose The Grapes of Wrath, and then you'll download that to your computer. What I'm going to do is take you there because I've already downloaded it, kind of like on the cooking shows where the beginning of the soup has already been made when you arrive. And I want to say again that to start, we're going to simply look at this lit trip as a user, as someone exploring one way to view The Grapes of Wrath through Google Earth. Now, again, this is Google Earth technology, so we see a large map here, and we even see the curvature of the Earth, which in my mind is pretty exciting. And my son really enjoys Google Earth because he can zoom in and zoom out of different areas that he'd like to explore. But when you're within a lit trip file, you can simply double click on the left side to zoom in to some, let's say, pinpoint mark. So back in the day before I was able to use Google Earth technology, I used the old school maps where we'd have an image on the wall, usually taped up or pinned up, and possibly push pins could emphasize a certain place along a trail or along an area of study. And what you see here, and in this Google Lit Trip, they are in the shape of arrows. What you see here are the old school push pins made interactive. And if you click on, for example, this one, you'll see an image, a photograph of the Dust Bowl. Pretty amazing photograph. You'll also see a little bit of text, and in this Google Lit trip that was created by someone with a real angle towards teaching, you'll have textual questions where the creator of this Lit trip is encouraging us to ask literary questions. In other Lit trips, there may be less text, fewer words, and more photographs, or even possibly a YouTube video or a variety of different ways that interaction becomes possible. So let's step back a moment again, and we can close this box and we'll be right back on the trail. Some people who have explored the Grapes of Wrath are most interested in the physical circumstances of the exploration. They're interested in where the Jodes were. And if you click on to day 1, for example, let me get a little closer here, you'll find that the description tells us right here that they've traveled almost 200 miles. Then there's a textual question. Then we move on to the potential here to click on to Thomas Paine, Karl Marx, Thomas Jefferson, Lenin, Vladimir Lenin, in order for a student or a teacher or anybody to learn more about certain aspects of this time in history that aren't within the text but outside the text. Secondary sources, as we use the term in English classes. And so students, I feel, get a much better understanding of the layers of analysis in a piece of literature because they like the images, the photographs, the text, and the ability to click on to other websites. And this is just the beginning. We're just at the beginning of the Jodes' journey here.